Hey guys, how you are doing? Now that it's been a week, I thought I would summarize my thoughts on Fontaine. And spoiler alert, I really liked it. But I won't be spoiling any major story beats, I would just like to go over what I thought in general. And as you can see, I've already completed most of the stuff. I am still missing a few chests though. So, with that out of the way, let's get into it. First of all, the story. I always start with the Archon quest because I find it's like the easiest to get into a region with a quest because it takes you on a journey anyway. And I thought it was really good. Like the story beats have been a huge improvement over Sumeru and an even sorry, and an even bigger improvement over Inazuma. I think that it's evident that with each region they actually take our feedback. I know that most of the time it seems like they don't actually take any feedback at all, but with Fontaine, especially with the quests and how the characters were handled, I felt like they are a lot more refined than those that we met in Inazuma and during even Liu and Mondstadt. So there's a natural progression to the game's overall storytelling quality, which I find very refreshing, especially with a big budget game like Genshin. I love seeing that budget be put into good use, you know, guys. And as for the exploration, I genuinely think that this has been the best that Genshin has to offer, like ever. And the reason I'm saying that is because the area didn't feel as hostile as like in Azuma or Sumeru, but the enemy density was just fine, and we even had some more challenging enemies. And overall, I think the distribution of the camps, the chests, have been very well put to use, so to say, because I don't know if you've noticed, but we got a lot less common chests, but in exchange the percentage of exquisite chests and luxurious ones have been higher, meaning that we had to find less chests overall. I think it's only 300 something versus 500 for the first Sumeru region. However, the quality of the chest is higher. And I don't know about you guys, but finding more exquisite chests rather than a bunch of trashy common ones is much more enjoyable for me. Well, as for the underwater, I thought I was not gonna like it. I even avoided it for like half a day because, well, you cannot exactly quote unquote use your builds there. But I think that the underwater combat and exploration have been very well explored, and it's quite a satisfying experience to explore all the ruins. And the world quests have been, well, I'm not gonna spoil anything from them, but let's just say that it's a far jump from how trash Aranara questline was. Like, it's not as long, it's a lot shorter, and the quality of information we get is much better. And I think if you pay attention to it, you will find something worth your while. Oh, I haven't picked this up yet. So I would recommend paying some attention to it at least. As for the story quests, I found that the voice acting in English has been excellent. It kept improving over time, and the voice actors really did a great job. I think the voice direction was also fantastic. Paimon itself was nowhere near as unbearable as she usually is. And the main character that we interacted the most with, well, she's just been pleasant to be around. Her backstory is really fleshed out. And I think the Traveler also had more agency in a way. Well, as for the combat, more in more in that, well, how should I say? The enemies are fine. The new ONP mechanics that you have to use are not really a bother, so you can completely ignore them if you want to, thankfully. But it's also a nice little boost if you do use them. And as for the enemy patterns, I am very delighted to announce that enemies do not have BS invulnerability phases or phases where they are just moving too much. They do have some movement and some agency, but it feels a lot more straightforward. You know, combat is how it should feel. You're not having your time be wasted intentionally by stupid design. And also the enemies look cool. Some of the new Hydra ones are the ones we've seen before in the temporary quest line, you know. So yeah, and the mechas are also very cool. And I've been looking forward to what else the game has to offer, to be honest, because this is a very good sign for Genshin that they've listened. They have noticeably listened to a lot of complaints about Sumeru exploration, because right now Fontaine is a lot more packed with content, and you do not have. Oh yeah, that's actually the most important point I would like to say, and the one that I've loved the most is that you are not locked behind any stupid mechanics that you need to do a 1 day world quest for, right? So you do not have to waste hours upon hours completing a world quest just because you're locked out of a mechanic. Most of most of Fontaine you can explore without having to do world quests. I mean, yes, there are chests that are tied to areas that are unlocked by world quests, but the majority of the content is a lot more akin to how Mondstadt and Liyue were in the early days. So you have much more agency, much more freedom to explore, which I found very refreshing after the chore that was Sumeru exploration and some of the issues that were related to Inazuma as well. And it's all enhanced by the fact that now we do have an underwater map, which is very, very useful. And I think that it's a very nice region, it even looks nice. And I wouldn't like to say more. The only thing I would like to add is that please explore it for yourself, because it's really worth the time. And I would recommend listening to the story quests. Do not skip it, because the dialogue is actually like fine now, sort of. And I think everyone will find something they enjoy in it. Well, that was me for now. Bye bye.